There's a war on. The Canaanite general flees the battlefield because the Israelites are winning. A woman named Yael goes out to meet him and lures him into her tent with the promise of safety. Like a mother, she gives him milk, tucks him in, lets him fall asleep, and then kills him by driving a tent peg through his head. You might be familiar with this story from church or synagogue. It's from the biblical book of Judges, and it's the first of 3 stories in the Bible and other related ancient Jewish literature about women who assassinate military commanders. My project offers a new reading of these very old texts, focusing on the role of performed femininity as a weapon of war. Now, why is this work important? Well, for better or worse, the Bible and its related literature form the backbone of Western civilization, and many people trace core beliefs about gender and sexuality back to the Bible. Even if you don't consider the Bible part of your life, you feel its ramifications, from debates over gay marriage to ads featuring the biblical Eve as shorthand for temptation. My second story is from the book of Judith. Again, there's a war on. Judith is a beautiful widow, and she gets dressed up and puts on all her jewelry. She walks into the enemy camp and tells the general that she has defected. Judith is seductive, and in his lustful excitement, the general gets drunk and passes out, and she beheads him with his own sword. The third story is a retelling of Yael's tale written in the 1st century of the Common Era. In this story, Yael is seductive. My favorite detail is that she scatters rose petals on her bed for the general. And when he falls asleep, tent peg through the head. Many scholars have argued that the women in these stories are acting like men because they take up weapons of war instead of leaving it to the men. I disagree. In my dissertation, I argue that these characters are acting like women. Think about a drag queen doing an exaggerated performance of femininity. Or think about Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn's persona was over-the-top feminine. Platinum hair, skin-tight dresses, breathy laughs, giggles, and shimmies. Scholars in the growing field of queer theory argue that we all tell people our gender by the 1,000 little things we do with our hair or voice or walk. Even if our biological sex matches the gender we present, it's a performance. I argue that the women in my stories are performing gender, and that's how they get the generals to trust them. Sometimes this takes the form of exaggerated mothering, like tucking in a grown man, and sometimes it means being the ultimate seductress, like putting on all your jewelry at once and sashaying into the enemy camp. I use close readings of the Hebrew of the book of Judges, the Greek of the book of Judith, and the Latin of the 1st century retelling of Yael, combined with insights from the new field of queer theory to show how these women get in position to slay the general and save the day. Thank you.